into the mic. Thank you. Tommy Donovan is back in the neighborhood today to discuss his new book. The Rail, what was really doing in the 60s Bronx. Today we're introducing Tommy not just in his hometown, not just in his old neighborhood, but on his own block. He lived at 3987 Saxon Avenue. I just walked around like 10 minutes when I looked at his house. 2 houses down on the back side. Like many of us who grew up in the Amalgamated in the 60s. He was an Irish kid, growing up in an almost all-Jewish neighborhood at the time. His book lays bare the struggles, the experiences, the camaraderie, and what it was like for him to spend his youth here, right in the neighborhood, in the post-World War II 60s and 50s. A couple of years back, I was moving old boxes in my basement, and a piece of stationery fell on the floor. This really happened. I picked it up, and it was a letter from Tommy from 25 years ago, written before the internet, when people still had stationery, and people still wrote letters. In it, he talked about what life had really been like for him in the neighborhood. This is 1992. He talked of the thoughts and emotions still flashing about it through his mind. As he put it, the dozens of images and faces and smells shimming upward like heat from the sidewalk. In the final paragraph he wrote, I think there's a uniqueness here, a history that could be told. Hell, I want to write a book, a history of our neighborhood, the transition of a generation. I don't know, it's something inside me, something I hope we can talk about sometime. Well, I think this is the time. A half century after the 1960s, 25 years since Tommy wrote that letter to me, the book is here. We have also a few words from a close friend of Tommy's and from many of the people in this room, Gary Nass. He wrote a few words, he can't be here today, and he wanted to say something about what Tommy and his book means to him. Our legacies are defined by our life's experiences, family, relationships, friendships, and of course the neighborhood we grew up in. They all play a pivotal role in who and what we are today. At a young age, it's impossible to predict the outcome and understand where we will be years later. But our friendships in the past 50 years, as in all friendships, while they've tested our fortitude, today we stand strong, side by side, in love and friendship. There can be no doubt about the bonds of love and caring as friends that we all have for each other. Tommy articulates the experiences that defined his life, and in vivid detail takes us on his life's journey, on how he has arrived, on who he is today. His narrative is well documented and brilliantly expressed in his first published memoir, The Rail, what was really doing in the 60s Bronx. Now, you ready, Jerry? All right? As part of today's get-together, our very own Jerry Leff has a musical introduction.
I'm very happy to be here today. I'm very proud to be a member of this community, and I still am a member of this community. And I'm going to do this song for you. There are places I remember all my life, but some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone, and some remain, but I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I loved you more.
Tommy, it's great to have you back at Bellata Hall to talk about your book for the first time. Welcome home, Tommy.
Holy mackerel. Is this thing on? Yeah. People in the back? Doris, can you hear me?
Just
There you go,
my
I have to start off with an enormous thank you to a lot of people, and probably some I might forget, but I want to thank the Amalgamated. That's Eddie Yeager's car. Whenever you say Amalgamated, Eddie's car does that. I really appreciate the support, the welcome, the Herman Liebman Trust for sponsoring this, for Doris and Shelley and the staff people in the Amalgamated office. Who else? For my right-hand production manager, Mark Dworkin, my introducer, Paul Carton, my musical accompaniment, Natty Bumpo, Jerry Left. That's a nickname I gave him in 1970.
Still using it.
And my friend Alan Pastorella for getting some of the other music together. So wow, I mean like big wow. I am very touched to be looking out on a sea of faces, many that I remember, some that I don't, some that I will remember from this day forward, I'm certain. And I really just want to open my heart and say thank you. They got the fans cranked up. I know it's going to be a little schwitzy in here, but I hope you can bear with me. Before I start reading, what I've come to learn in the course of writing this book, and in fact what was a major part of the impetus to write this book, was falling in love again, retrospectively, with this neighborhood. I don't think and maybe some of you even, understood that we grew up in a sea and with a foundation of incredible values. I mean, think about it. This neighborhood was founded on the ideas of cooperation and democracy and decent housing and social justice for the working family. I mean, we swam in those waters while we were walking to PS 95. We touched that spirit every time we had to figure something out as a community, or even among our friends, arguing and sorting things out, finding our ethical compass. I'm firmly convinced that those values, seeping up from the aquifers of the very original co-op, the first building, stay with us and remained with us and shaped us, consciously, unconsciously, but provided a foundation that I firmly believe saved my life ultimately. And I want to acknowledge that, and my hope is that in that book it comes across as a love story about the people and the place that I grew up in. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to read a few excerpts, not a ton. Hopefully they will titillate you to read the book yourselves. What I'm going to try to focus on is certain key transitional points in my life since I came to the neighborhood, all the way to the point where I felt like I needed to leave the neighborhood. And the reason I'm focusing on transitions has to do with the fact that transitions aren't really honored in our culture anymore. They're skipped over, they're jumped over, people move towards a horizon of change and they want to get to the other side very quickly. But transitions are fraught with all manner of transformation, life lessons, things we need to incorporate to become better and stronger humans, and hopefully more empathic and compassionate humans as well. So I want to give you a sense through my story of the transitions that brought me here, saw me through the neighborhood. They might reflect or inspire memories of your own transitions. My hope is that you don't hang on every single word that I speak, but that the words allow you to dance in your own reverie of memories about your own life transitions. The other vision I have is that after I read, we get to talk a little bit, right? If it's a particular question and answer, we can do that. If you want to make comments about the book or about your life. And then shortly after that, we continue our incredible neighborhood reunion that is already percolating in this room. And because Mark Walken stole the key to this building from the office, rumor has it we can stay until midnight, and if we have to, we can go to the rail or we can go to the 17th green for all that matter. We'll see where the spirit moves us.
To the cove.
To the cove. Memories. So I'm going to start with a real short description of how I got to the neighborhood, what circumstances brought me here, and who I was in the moment when I arrived. So we'll see where this goes. I grew up in Washington Heights, and basically I grew up in a bar, an Irish bar. So that's where I'm coming from when I land in this neighborhood on Saxon Avenue. And this is the event that brought me here. We were at our table the night Jimmy Bradley faced off with a drunken patron wielding a broken whiskey bottle only inches from Jimmy's face and neck. Upon the sound of the breaking bottle, so indelibly distinguishable to the ever-alert antenna of this rough and tumble crowd, from the noise of dropped plates or glasses, an electric hush swept over the people as their eyes were drawn in the direction of the sound.